Look up from your telescope, take me on this journey home. I don't wanna wait no more.
All right, y'all, it's time to put up or shut up, the title of episode 10. Let's get into this breakdown because I got some things I want to say. Last night's episode was interesting. Was it just me, or was the episode slow but then fast? And did they spend a ton of time telling us about things but didn't really show us those things? Yeah, so I have mixed feelings about last night's episode. I don't think that it was a bad episode by any means, but I'm a little bit frustrated with some of the stuff that was said and not shown. And then some of the stuff that was shown, I was like, y'all could have kept that. So let's jump into this specifically so that I can explain. But before I do, if you're new here, I'm Erica Bain, and I post new All American videos every day, sometimes twice a day. And you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, because even if this is your first video, you're going to love it. You're going to look down in the comment section. You're going to see how active we are, how amazing we are, and you're going to want to be a part of the community. So just go ahead and click the subscribe button now. I'll wait. Okay, you did it? Perfect. Thank you. All right, now let's talk about this episode. Okay, so the episode starts off with the aftermath of homecoming. So we don't actually get to see a homecoming dance this season, I guess. We only get to see the guys after the fact, or the girls after the fact. It looks like Olivia did not go to her homecoming because when we see the ladies, we only see Vanessa and Simone, and they're all meeting up at the hangout after. Spencer comes over with Chris. Chris has won homecoming, and JJ is proudly peacocking around because he's also won homecoming king at Beverly, and we get to see JJ, Asher, and Jordan. And this is like the first thing that I was kind of annoyed with, even though like I knew from the jump that we were not going to see Olivia and Spencer go to homecoming together, and a lot of y'all were like talking about that, asking about that, and like, oh, I think that they're going to be fine, or they're going to be cordial enough to go to homecoming together. And something in my spirit just says, no, we're not going to get that visual. Like, we're definitely not going to see Spencer and Olivia go to homecoming together. But I did not think that we were just not going to see homecoming. Like, what? But I guess if they weren't going to move forward with showing them getting to a cool place, or whether they would or wouldn't go together, if they weren't going to actually touch upon that, then I guess it makes sense for them not to have shown homecoming, because we already know Jordan is in love with Simone, and Asher and Vanessa didn't go to homecoming together, but they're dancing around their little feelings or whatever they got going on. Yeah, so I guess it makes sense that they didn't need to show homecoming, because nobody's relationship was going to be moved forward with that story beat, I guess. When we last saw them at a homecoming game, or homecoming in general, it was in season 1, and the whole purpose of that particular scene was to give us homecoming for these high schoolers. But in that, we got to see Layla break up with Asher, we got to see Asher out Olivia for them sleeping together, we got to see how Olivia navigated with being with Chris but still wanting to be with Spencer. We got to see Spencer and Chris come to a head, but then also come to make amends. We got to see Spencer wrestle with his feelings. So there were so many things that like were conveyed in that homecoming scene, and I guess this season, with where we are, there are a lot of things that are very clear. Layla didn't go to homecoming. Olivia didn't go to homecoming. Layla is focused on some other stuff. Particularly in this episode, she is focused on what her dad has going on and what shady business he's doing, and getting that out of Coop after Coop makes a backhanded, statement about him. And Olivia is focused on her new NA meeting, as well as finding a new sponsor. So they kind of have these two ladies kind of have bigger fish to fry than a high school homecoming, right? And, like I said, Jordan and Simone are great, never better. Spencer is I don't even know what to say about where Spencer is. If you haven't already, go and watch my video. After this video, it's going to be linked in the cards above and the description box down below. But how Spencer feels when he tells Olivia no, because I feel like Spencer is like, he's definitely on the mend, right, y'all? Like, I have been predicting in my episode 10 predictions video, I told y'all that we were going to see a beast mode Spencer on the field, and we saw a beast mode Spencer on the field. He is definitely on his way up, but it's going to take a little bit. It's not going to be all at once. And I think mentally he's still in a very foggy place. I think that he's still struggling a little bit to mend and heal after the last few interactions with Olivia and all that has happened in recent weeks for them. Which brings me to my second thing that I didn't really like about this episode is that I know that we're not going to see Olivia and Spencer interact like that. Like, I knew that they were going to interact at the hospital because Jordan is there and it was going to be like a high and a bye type of thing. It wasn't going to be anything too heavy, nothing that's going to push their story forward. But I did expect that when they do interact, that it would give us hints in reference to where they are mentally. And where they see their relationship. And this episode did nothing of the sort. So for me, yes, Olivia and Spencer only interacted for a few seconds. At the hospital wasn't nothing crazy. The point where they say hello, and then the point where Laura is blaming Olivia for not telling her about Jordan being married, and then Spencer steps up and says, well, we knew, and he told her that he'll have her back. I feel like there was not enough emotion. Not that I think that they got to be crying all the time, y'all. Like, I'm not saying that at all. But I felt like Spencer and Olivia were interacting like the last few weeks had not happened. It almost reminded me of how Spencer and Olivia interacted in season 2 before the shooting, which was very weird. Like, I felt like being at the hospital was a triggering thing, or could be a triggering thing, because they both are kind of suffering from PTSD, even though we never really got to see that manifest with Olivia and see what that looks like and if she was actually struggling with that. So y'all are both back at the same hospital. Olivia is now running into this same nurse who saved her from this cop back, after the shooting, who was being ridiculous at the hospital, and helped her, navigate that situation, and like coached her, like, to say that he's your sister so that you can actually see Spencer while she's like losing it, and really took care of her. So there's so many triggering things, and then I thought that it would be triggering for them to see each other, and they just kind of acted like nothing had ever happened. Or for me, the energy just felt very much so like there's nothing left to be said. There's nothing, not that they don't feel anything, but they don't feel any type of way. And I just don't believe that to be true. Like, Olivia, literally her last words that we saw her say to him was like, oh, I have people waiting for me to come back home, and I know it's my fault that you're no longer one of them. And it's like, how do you go from that to like, oh, everything's all cool de la, like, we good? Like, there was no hesitation in interaction. There was no hesitation in talking. There was no like they have been staring at each other and shooting each other looks for the last 9 episodes, and then we get to episode 10 and they're just like regular. I was looking like, what is this? What is happening? So needless to say, episode 10 doesn't give us any type of inkling in reference to where Spence and Olivia are on their personal journeys, as well as their romantic journey, or their thoughts on their romantic journey. Again, my prediction is that it's going to be a while. They're going to be alone for a while. Even though we get at the top of the episode, Jordan makes a comment to Spencer about him asking where the ladies are, really meaning him asking where Olivia is. And I guess that's like the writer's nod to tell us that like Spencer does still want her in this way, but we don't see that from Spencer. So I'm just like, I'm a little frustrated with that. And before I continue my full breakdown of episode 10, I want to give a shout out to you amazing subbies who took advantage of our 48-hour preview pre-order for Erica Vane TV merch over the weekend, and you shopped with us. So you grabbed your All-American inspired merch, and I am just so blown away by how you all showed up and supporting me in this way. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. You will see the names of all the amazing people who decided to capitalize on the opportunity and the deep discounts. Um, Scrolling across the screen. So shout out to y'all. And your orders are now shipped and on their way to you. And I have included some surprises for you all. So I hope you enjoy the merch. I hope you love it. Please be sure to tag me on social media if you decide to post pictures of yourself in it so that I can repost you and show you some love. And again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There's so much more to come. That was literally just a preview, pre-order. I'm really excited. We are working really, really hard on bringing more designs, more options, and just more creative ways to express ourselves with our apparel surrounding our favorite shows and characters. So be on the lookout for that. If you missed it, you're going to want to get on my email list. The link will be in the description box down below so that you'll know when the shop opens back up, when we restock. It will be happening sooner rather than later. And again, it's something that I announce first on the email list. And yeah, that's how it's going. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you to all the subbies that made a purchase with me over the weekend. Y'all are the best. Okay, but now back to the episode. So I'm still okay. We're at the hangout, right? So the guys are there. We get the whole Olivia comment with Spencer and Jordan, and then we step outside and we see Simone and Vanessa walking up. Why? Okay, like logistically, story wise, y'all, I get why Simone and Vanessa are walking up together. But Simone, you're not Vanessa's friend. We are not Vanessa's friend. Why are y'all together? That was one. Little thing kind of irked me, had to mention it. The bigger thing that irked me of this scene is that we also get Cam and Dane walk up. It's like, why are y'all here? Like, I can't. I can't. Y'all are like messy boots times 72 and raggedy. Like, I get it. It's Cam's thing to be messy and, you know, talk and all that great stuff. But, you know, sideshow Bob there, Dane. I really didn't need it. I really didn't need it, especially given what he does in this episode. It's just like, I really didn't need this extra screen time. And I really didn't need his fake remorse and him trying to holla at Simone after she done dropped off their baby. He ain't said a word. He done ducked and hide. He done fought with Jordan before about this. She done gave the baby up for adoption. Like, all this stuff is happening. Now all of a sudden you want to see if she's good. Now all of a sudden she looks good. Now all of a sudden you're glad she's okay. Boy, if you don't stop. I'm sorry. That like all of 1 minute scene really set my soul on fire because I was just like, I know what's coming and you can catch these hands right now. So there's that. But I get it. We get that scene so that we can get the setup for what happens in the game between him and Jordan because of course Jordan comes outside and he's like, Jordan is always with it. If nothing else, Jordan is always with the you know what, y'all, and he gonna stand by his woman and he's going to fight for her. So, you know, that was like the redeeming quality of that, of like seeing Jordan confront Dane and then Spencer being like, yeah, whatever Jordan with, I'm with. Like, I love seeing them move like that. I think it's absolutely hilarious and amazing. And I wouldn't have been mad if they would have started throwing hands. I really think that both Dane and Cam need their asses whooped, but you know, that's just Erica's humble opinion. Okay, so there are a few things that I liked in this episode. One, let me go ahead and get that out the way. One being Kia and her moisturized, gorgeous, melanated skin and them Bantu knots gave me everything that I needed. But, you know, that's not a story thing. But I absolutely love seeing Kia in this episode. But the other thing is I did like the story and how it's unfolding with Olivia and her getting back on the wagon. She goes to a new NA meeting and we get exposed to what are called like sponsor vampires, and this new woman who wants to just desperately be somebody's sponsor. She tries to attach herself to Olivia, and thank God Olivia knows better so she don't have to get in bed with another BS sponsor who's really not about that life. And by the end of the episode she does get a sponsor and it's the exact woman that she needs. You know what, y'all? I'm about to just piggyback on whatever Nurse Joy says moving forward because I really feel like all of her dialogue is going to be saying a lot of the things that I have been saying about Olivia that y'all have dragged me for because y'all were like, oh, you're too hard on Olivia. Oh, Erica doesn't like Olivia. Oh, blah, 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 blah. BS. Erica is wrong. Olivia is right. No, Olivia needs somebody who is going to hold her accountable. And this, oh my gosh, watching Nurse Joy and Olivia interact in this episode was absolutely chef's kiss because it was literally it is what Olivia needs. She needs someone to call her on her BS. She needs someone to make her think deeper, make her think harder, make her really touch in with herself because that was not the reason you started drinking. When she said that she felt like everyone had abandoned her and she was left alone even though she had been there for everybody else and that was the moment that she decided to drink, I was like, girl, where? You literally just told Asher you weren't going to go yachting with him and his mom all summer so that he could spend time with his mother uninterrupted. He didn't run off and leave you. You said no, you didn't want to go. Like, actually, I want to go back to the season finale real quick because when she was giving this whole breakdown in the AA meeting, I was like, Olivia, cut it out. You're lying right now, sis. Because that is exactly what did not happen. There are quite a few times when people have not shown up for you, and I will give you that. But the moment that you decided to pick up that bottle, none of that was happening, sis. It made absolutely no sense to me. Yeah, I just had to go back and look at the season two finale, and that's the episode where Spencer decides to go back to Crenshaw, but he still comes back to the house at the very end, which is what interrupts Olivia's drinking. Um, Jordan is, on the football field with Simone, but he's coming home tonight. Like, he just has to profess his love, so he's still there. You sent Asher away, sis, and the only thing that I can say is that this is the episode that Billy tells them that he's moving out. But even that, she literally replies okay, and we don't get any other beats that let us know that she's not okay with that throughout the episode. So by the time we get to the end of the episode and she's holding this bottle, it's like, girl, what happened? Like, this is now weeks after the shooting. This is like, we literally had not seen anything to really clue us into like what was the trigger, what was the thing. So her sitting in this NA meeting and saying that, oh, everyone had abandoned her and she had been there for them. I was just like, girl, where? Like, they do be abandoning you, sis. Like, your 1 year anniversary and all that, when nobody paid attention, you was 100% right. But this moment, sis, you're lying, because I don't know what you're talking about. Abandoning you? How? Like, people were just out and hadn't made it home yet. Like, make it make sense. And I'm so glad, like, Nurse Joy doesn't even know all of those details, but she calls BS on Liv and like, yo, that's not what it is. I think this is going to be one of the iconic lines of this season, where she says, you were going to find a reason to drink no matter what. And like, that is what it is. And that does not make Olivia a bad person. It makes her an addict. And she knows that. But I feel like for so long, we saw Olivia not really functioning like she was a recovering addict. And then we kind of got hit with her relapse. And I think now what we're about to see in the next coming episodes is them dialing it back and then going back and showing us all of the beats that we missed, or even all of the beats that Olivia missed. Because again, I feel like she's been operating not like she's an addict and not necessarily taking great care of herself, or taking great care to not put herself in positions for triggers, or maybe it's even something that she's triggered by something that she doesn't even realize yet, and she's equating it to loneliness, or she's equating it to, her current social setting amongst her friends and family. And we're going to probably get to see Nurse Joy get her to drop a little bit deeper and figure out what's the root, or what are some uncovered triggers for her. And again, that was the best part of the episode, like seeing Olivia go through this journey. And it's a little unfortunate that we're just now getting this because I would have loved to have a little bit more insight before, but better late than never. By the end of the episode, Nurse Joy becomes Olivia's new sponsor. And again, she is exactly who Olivia needs. She's not going to take Olivia's BS. She's not going to take Olivia's excuses. And I do believe that she's the perfect person. Kind of like how Coach Montez is for Jordan in reference to pushing him and not letting him just settle and be this mediocre player. Nurse Joy is not going to let Olivia settle to be mediocre Olivia or just getting by Olivia. I think Nurse Joy is going to be the person that really sets Olivia up to thrive and really helps her reinforce great habits and get rid of bad ones. But my one caveat, y'all, my one caveat to this whole thing, in that like Nurse Joy making Olivia go deeper, I made this statement. I can't even remember the video now because, child, we didn't have over 100 videos. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my celebration video where I thank all of you amazing subbies for being here, supporting and helping my channel grow, watching the content, enjoying the content. I have posted now over 100 videos. I think that this is video 109 actually. And so child, I can't remember what specific video off the top of my head right now, but I know I said in the video that I think that there's something bigger at play with Olivia and why we're seeing her operate the way she is and what started her drinking. And then I also said that I was kind of concerned because we didn't have any backstory on what is triggering Olivia to operate in this space. And I said that I felt like maybe we're going to see her experiment and figure out who she really is, because maybe this isn't who she actually is. And that could lead her to reevaluate relationships, friendships, and make a complete and total shift. So my one caveat for Nurse Joy taking her deeper is, what if Olivia goes on this journey, uncovers hidden triggers, and really gets to know herself, really gets to understand what makes her tick, and none of the things that she thought was her are actually her. And then she develops different likes and different preferences and just all these different things. And, you know, we have the conversation about Spencer waiting for Olivia, but then what if Olivia evolves past her infatuation or love of Spencer? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's a thought that popped in my mind when I think about the uncharted waters of Olivia's psyche and get into the root of what's going on with her mentally. I'm just, you know, talking about all sides. Do not jump in the comment section and say Erica says Olivia is over, because Erica did not say that. Erica is just exploring the possibilities. Okay, moving on, because I spent a lot of time over there in Olivia land, and we didn't really even get that much from, like, we got a good amount, but we didn't get enough, I feel like. Anyway, moving on. Another thing that I struggle with in this episode is how they allowed Simone to reveal the marriage. Like, why did they have to go the route of Simone being disrespectful? And I get that she wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but the way that it came out, it just came out real snarky, extra ridiculous. And I was hoping that it would come out a little bit more comical so that we could really root for Simone a little harder. But she really came hard at Laura. And it's like, Laura has a daughter who's an addict and a son who she now discovers is married, has been cheating concussion protocols, and could not wake up. She is a panicked mother who is also feeling very guilty for not being what her kids need because they keep struggling. So in this moment, I thought that the Simone that we know would have had a lot more grace for Laura. Now, I could be wrong because I've been reading a lot of y'all's comments. If you don't know, every week when we have a new episode, I put up a community post so that you can drop your spoilers and things like that there. I'm on the West Coast. A lot of you guys are on the East Coast, so that you have some place to talk about the episode after you watch it before we get a chance to see it. You can drop those things there, and I go through that thread after I watch the episode so I don't get any spoilers of my own. But a lot of y'all were like, yes, Simone, and I just felt really, like, bad. Like, it wasn't the worst read, right? Like, but she definitely read Laura, and I thought that Simone was sweeter than that. Like, I didn't think that Simone was as confrontational as that. And the jumping off point of like, because Laura kept asking all these questions, is like, she's a mom. What else is she supposed to do? So I don't know. I really just struggled with how the reveal happened. I personally felt a little bit let down, because it became this negative thing, even though I know it was going to be a negative thing anyway, because Laura and Billy were never going to agree with it or be okay with it. But the way they had Simone come at her, I was just like, well, girl, I can understand why this lady not gonna like you now, because look at you rude. I don't know. Am I the only one who was just like, all right, Simone, that was a bit much? Tell me down in the comment section below. Did you think that Simone revealing the wedding or the marriage the way that she did was too much or just enough? Child, I'm going to talk about this really quick because they gave us two things that we did not ask for, but I guess we might need. So, Asher and Vanessa and Coop and Mo. Let's start with Asher. They want each other. They're waiting for the right time. But oh, Vanessa, when you was holding that little puff puff pastry, you was talking about, oh, he reads women wrong and you just wanted to be friends and you had no interest in him. What happened to all that? What happened to all that? Now you want to bust out waiting? Girl, I can't. A tragic mess. I be trying to like, no, I don't. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I do not be trying to like Vanessa. But she don't be helping because every episode she keep coming with some more reasons not to like her. If y'all don't get together and get off my screen, like, I don't care. I really don't care. Please get together so that y'all could go off and occupy your damn time with each other. Like, please. And for me, I like seeing JJ, so I'm not even mad. Like, I'm not mad at the scenes of JJ and Asher fighting. I felt like they played JJ a little bit, having him all sprung over this girl, and she has not even really given him any kind of play, any kind of indication that, you know, she's interested. And up until this point, JJ seems very much so like a player like Jordan. Like, JJ gets women. So now, what is it about this look? You know what? It don't even matter. They argue. It all comes out. At least JJ know now. You free. Free like a bird. Go on, JJ. Go sow your wild oats somewhere else because it ain't worth it, child. It ain't worth it. Go ahead and let Vasher be Vasher. Moving on. Coop. And I really debated, y'all, what I was going to say about Coop in this episode. Because all signs point to drag her. Like, every sign is telling me to drag her. To just go ahead and give about 5 minutes just to drag her. But I also don't want to give that much time of mine to negativity. But my biggest issue with Coop in this episode, and y'all know I got a couple issues with Coop. In what world do you forgive Mo, establish a relationship with Mo, before you make up with Spencer James? I will wait. You know what? No, I won't. It don't make sense. It's dumb. You're dumb. I'm done. I can't. I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk about Coop anymore, y'all, because seeing her struggle with, oh, I'm profiling Mo, and oh my gosh, maybe you're right, Kia. Oh, maybe Mo ain't that bad of a person. Blah, 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 blah. Going ahead and apologizing to Mo before you even apologize to Spencer James? Girl, why? Don't nobody even care. Like, yes, I have been telling y'all, I've been saying that Coop need to let this whole Mo thing go. Not that I think that Mo wasn't up to something, but I was saying that you have to wait. Like, if she is up to something, girl, you ain't gonna be able to figure it out. You ain't gonna be able to just run around and stress yourself about it until she, like, pop out. Ta-da! So, go ahead about your life. I knew that it was coming, but you wasting your time being a Nancy Drew of the hood wasn't going to do anything for you. So now we got a whole let her guard down Coop, who hasn't yet to apologize to Spencer, has yet to get back in good graces with Spencer, but you want to be in good graces with Mo. Child, make it make sense. And why is it even on my screen? I can't. I really just cannot. Y'all gotta tell me in the comment section down below if you feel me or not, or if I'm just tripping. You could tell me if I'm tripping. Okay, back to the important meat and potatoes of this episode, because child, it almost raised my blood pressure. We definitely get a beast mode Spencer James. I love the moment where he takes a knee during the game so that he doesn't break his father's record, and he allows Corey to continue on having this legacy and record at South Crenshaw. And there were 8 scouts at the game watching Spencer. So I'm thinking that the recruiting thing is not going to be an issue anymore. He had the best game of his career in this episode. Grace makes a note that the 8 scouts that were there actually reached out to her and wanted to, come by and visit and chat with Spencer. So it looks like his football career and, his football future is back on track. I do know that I did the episode 11 synopsis breakdown where it talks about some recruiting issues. And I think, as we see in the preview, it's just going to be them wanting him to keep his profile down. There is going to be a big Black Lives Matter episode next episode, and I think he gets involved and starts to voice and speak up about it. And in the preview, we hear him saying, or we hear one of the recruiters saying that you don't want the social justice thing to take away his opportunities or something like that. So I think that is what's really going to be the issue. But I think we're pretty much good in reference to Spencer not having options. This episode and this game put a lot of options back on the table for him in college, thank God. So that's one less thing that he has to worry about. And I didn't jump too much into it, but Layla takes time to confront her dad in this episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Layla's interaction with her dad, as well as how her story evolves in the rest of this season. We're seeing her really, really mature and evolve right before our eyes, and I think they're doing it in a very nuanced way, and I'm excited. And that is my episode 10 breakdown. Now it is your turn. Jump down in the comment sections. Tell me what you thought of the episode, what you thought of this video, all your comments, questions, and theories. And if you're new here, I'm Erica Vane. I post new All-American videos every day, sometimes twice a day, and you should really join the tribe by hitting subscribe. I promise you are going to love it here. We have the best All-American community on the internet, and my comment section is lit. Go ahead, jump down there and get you some. If you missed any of the videos that I mentioned in this video, they are all linked in the description box down below, as well as my email list, so that you can sign up to learn more about my All-American inspired merch coming to the Erica Vane TV merch shop. Be sure to like this video because you made it to the end, and I know that you liked it. And give me 4 football emojis if you made it all the way to the end and you post a comment, so that I know that you're a real one and I gotta show you some extra special real love. Thank you so much for watching, and I know you're not ready to go yet, so go ahead and get into my All-American playlist link right here. Or if you're looking for a new series to watch, I got 2 suggestions for you right here. See you in the next amazing All-American video. Bye.